And you're live. Hello, Scott. Long time no see.
People that were here before then. Look at that.
We got some people hanging out here. And that's the thing, okay? So the last time we got together a couple of weeks ago, you and I just went, right? And we left everybody out. And lots of my guys wanted to meet you and stuff. So tonight, let's talk to them.
Absolutely, yes.
I just watched, like 20 minutes ago, I just watched your latest video with the Capri.
Oh, with my brother, yeah.
Oh, what an awesome car that is.
Yeah, so, I thought you might like that. That's cool.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Everything about it.
Well, it's your love of Fox bodies and going fast. Yeah, he did a beautiful job on that, and a great save of a car that was destined for the recycle bin. California. He bought that in Oakland, California, about 20 years ago, during the Cash for Crusher or whatever they were doing there.
Cash for Clunkers.
To decimate the used car market. Yeah.
Oh, please, that was disgusting.
Yeah, I know it was, and that car was going there. He paid $500 for that.
So you're driving in the car. You're showing yourself going down the road, and I'm like, run it up through the gears. And as I'm saying that, you put a thing on the screen. We'll save the burn out of abuse videos.
Literally, he'd had the dip in for about 15 minutes, so he was being careful with it. Yeah, that car, actually, the only video ever made 18 or 15 years ago, we did a video of that car, and he was doing some pretty sweet donuts with it. That video, one of the only videos ever made that got over 300,000 views. My videos got more views 15 years ago than they do now.
It's up and down, up and down, up and down. You think you're going to get, I can't tell you how many times I'll put out a video like, this is going to go like crazy, and it falls on its face. And then you do another one a couple of weeks later, and it's like, no, this isn't good enough to publish. Oh, wait, I have to put something up to keep the algorithm happy. And next thing you know, it's got 400,000 views. So it's like, you never know.
Yeah.
Now, can you see the chat?
Oh, yes, I believe so. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hey, there's Agent 8771. You see that there?
Okay, I gotta scroll up.
Way up, yeah.
Hi to the rails here. We got Danny Boyd, Kevin Smith, Phil Buckley, Frank Emerald, Wayne Buzzle. What's happening, man? Almost 6:30. We got Oliver's in here. Driveway of Misfits. Joe K, nice. Carb by Jones, the coolest name in all of YouTube audience.
That's awesome. If you go down, you can see Agent 8771. That's my brother, and that's his Capri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Agent. Wait, I don't. Why am I not seeing? Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's his car. He's he's had that for a long time. So if you have any questions, he can ask. Hey, Jonathan W. You guys don't know Jonathan W. Holy cow. These all guys. Yeah, Jonathan W. the steam engine magician. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, you got it.
Wait, what does he do with steam engines? What does he do with steam engines?
Oh, he does steam engines all the time. He's got a massive collection. Yeah, serious guy. I did a little kind of thing with him with our V8 showdown that we did a couple years ago, and Jonathan had a Studebaker Hawk with the Packard V8 that they only made for a year or two.
Okay.
So he joined in from North Carolina and sent us video of his car running, which we kind of used to put our little show together. So there's another guy I'm not worthy of knowing, and there he is. So that's very cool. And look, it's my friend Kyle Carter. That's Carter Auto Restyling. He's here, and our friend Randall. Look at that. You even got the right coffee mug going today. My friend Randall is here as well. So that's cool. Anyway,
I wish Mexican Spec was here.
He is. Oh.
Because he's been telling me to try the horchata. He sent me this. And you're laughing. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't have a clue. No.
Oh, I don't either. but I have a big glass of it here. Because he sent me a care pack. You know, I mean, he knows I'm into Tang, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here in America, we only have orange.
Oh, right. I think I saw that. Yeah, and he was sending you Mexican Tang. Is that right?
He sent me a box with every type of Tang you can imagine. And it's all in foreign, right? I don't know it. So he kept saying, try the horchata, try the horchata. So here's the horchata, and I wanted to try it with him, but you know what? I'm going to give it a shot anyway.
Give it a shot, yeah. If it's terrible, I'll just answer questions while you go get something else.
Oh, no, it's horrid.
It's horrible. You got trolled, yeah.
I got trolled. It tastes like coconut and feet.
Oh my, dude.
That's I gotta look up what horchata actually. What? That's terrible. I got trolled. I got trolled by my own.
That's right.
Let's see.
Oh, that's funny.
Or I should have done this before I made it.
Yeah, you tried it before you sat down.
A sweet, creamy, and refreshing non-alcoholic drink that originated in Spain as a nut beverage.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, no, it's freaking horrible. Okay, we'll have to switch out drinks at some point. Driver message, how do you know what feet taste like? You can imagine what, if you coconut and rub coconuts on your feet and then take a bite, that's what you had there. It's horrible.
Oh, my brother has a question there. Or no. What has he said?
If you click on it, it should highlight it and bring it up.
Oh, okay. I'll try it. No, it's not working. That's okay. He says, I've watched your channel many times, but Scott, oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. And I was explaining to Andy the other day, my brother, that, you've like read all of his articles when we were kids and just didn't know it was the same you. That's cool.
That happens a lot. People.
Yeah, I bet it does. Yeah.
I wrote for like literally
millions of, just because I don't have any idea. What was the circulation on some of those magazines? Like, I have an understanding of what a good number is, but I have no understanding of print.
Well, the smallest of the magazines would circulate around 25 to 30,000. The biggest of them I wrote for was Hot Rod in 1997. Mm-hmm. So whatever the number was there. But they were all over the map. I wrote for big ones. I wrote for small ones. But I wrote a lot of volume. A lot of volume. Mm-hmm. So I was banging up basically a feature a day. Where I wrote as many articles pretty much as I actually wrote more articles than I do YouTube videos.
That's crazy.
So there's a lot of stuff floating around out there.
This is easy for you then.
Oh, this is nothing, except for always having to come up with fresh ideas, which is.
I actually went to school to take journalism because I thought I wanted to write for Car Magazine. So of course I did the exact wrong thing, which is go to school and take journalism.
The absolute, the wrongest thing you could have possibly done.
The worst thing I could have done, yeah.
My qualification was that I was a mechanic and I was a street racer, and I was willing to, and that was it.
My qualification was that I was a drunk. Turns out that'll get you so far, but it doesn't get you over the top. So I did learn a lot about photography, which I still use, I have to say.
I was always a terrible photographer. But funny enough, right? I lived like a double life at this time during the 80s because I was working on fuel cars. I was learning the ropes there with local funny cars, and I was also doing magazines at the same time. So what was it, Darlington? I think it was Darlington, the IHRA Winter Nationals. And I was there crewing on a funny car and covering the event for the magazine. So my job, once the car was ready to go, was done. I was like literally a pit slave. Okay. So I grabbed the camera and I ran halfway up the track. And I shot the cars as I ran past. No motor drive. It was just a 35 millimeter Nikon. And as the cars went past, it was Jerry Caminito, the car that I was working with, and Jeffrey Jefferson, the Oklahoma Land Rush, and they crashed halfway down the track. And I was like, I start clicking, and I motor drived it with my thumb, and I got about 10 usable frames. And I was just scrolling through Facebook the other day, and there's my sequence.
Nice.
I shot at Darlington. Of course, there's no credit from it. They ripped it out of a magazine. But yeah, that was weird. It's weird watching the car that you were just working on, and you have to go meet at the finish line to get it back to the pits, crashing while you're covering it for a magazine.
Oh, that's crazy.
What kind of life that I had.
The first time I ever saw nitromethane cars was in Calgary, and I had gone down there with a friend to see that, and I had very little experience, with drag racing, still don't, and went down there, and I had a great big, Pentax SLR. Yeah, this is in the mid to late 80s, whatever. And I was getting ready, and I was practicing as they were running all the different cars throughout the day, and then they brought the nitro funny cars out, and I was all ready. I was like, I'm going to get the best shot of these things. And as soon as they lit them up, I dropped my camera to cover my ears. And I had no idea that was coming. I thought, oh, it's loud. I'm used to loud. I got Van Halen albums. I can handle loud. I had no idea what loud was until they.
It's a whole different kind of loud. I missed that. It's the dogs are going nuts out there.
You're used to loud, hey?
I'm used to loud, but I that's one of the few things that I do is, and today's cars don't sound anything like the old ones do. They blow so much fuel through the motors, even at idle, that it kind of muffles it down.
Okay, yeah.
But if you go back to the old days, like pre, like let's say 1990, or you hear them banging in the pipes. And the best sounding motors were the Chevys, because they're short stroke, right? The Chevy compared to a Chrysler, Chrysler's got a short rod ratio. I said stroke, I meant rod ratio. And the thing about nitro, the reason those motors are so loud is because the exhaust valve is actually interrupting an active combustion cycle. So you're hearing the combustion at the bottom of the bore. Well, the Chevys, because the Chevys have a short rod ratio, the piston stops abruptly, and the pressure wave bounces off the piston, and you hear it come out the pipe. So Chevys sound amazing on nitro, like just vicious. It's like a shotgun blast. I miss that shit so much. You have no idea.
I wasn't ready for that, but I've tried to describe it to people, and it's just like it's hard to describe, like it, because everybody thinks like myself that they've heard loud shit, but there's nothing like that. Like jet planes aren't loud, Van Halen's not loud, AC/DC was close, but nitro cars are. It's just that was an experience for me.
Yeah, that's all I did for a dozen years. And then I burned out, and and that was I've had it. I'm done. And at this point in my life, I never want to be involved in anything fast enough to need a roll cage. Mm-hmm. That's my my cutoff point. If it requires a roll cage, I'm out. I'm just done. Roll bar, okay. Roll cage, no
safety. Yeah, it's just all about safety. Well, if you ever, and I suggest to my friends this, if they're disappointed that their cars feel slow, I'm just like, borrow one of mine, drive it around for a while, and then your car will feel like a rocket ship. Yeah.
Wheelie King, what's happening, man? Scott, you're proof the algorithm is bullshit. You put out some of the best content there is. Thank you, Tony. Put it best. Car Guy Ground Zero.
Oh, well, thanks very much. I guess I just had to stop even looking at that stuff, because I've asked myself 100 times if you're willing to do what you think it would take to appease that, and I'm just not. So, I would never be as happy with what I'm making as I am now. And if nobody else watches it or sees it, well, that's the way she goes. I just can't worry about it. But it's the best case scenario when I started was that there would be a small number of people who would really appreciate it. And I think we have that. And so I have to be happy with that. And I got to work on cars.
You have a really loyal audience.
Yeah, I do. I think I have a terrific audience, and I mean, honestly, I don't have moderators, and I don't have to go through the comments and pick out all the nasty ones. Like generally, everybody's very nice, and I don't know. Maybe they just feel sorry for me.
You come up in my comments all the time. People mentioning you, your channel, videos that you did, cars that you worked on.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I guess, as I say, I haven't made a study of it because I realize I'm not really interested in changing what I'm doing. And if I start learning why it's not successful, I'll be tempted to change it. And it's not, I mean, to me, is it successful if I get up every day and I walk my dog and work on my own cars? And yeah, so whatever. Now when people come and I don't have to paint other people's cars, so it's a success, and it hasn't gotten, like, it's a big part, as you know. You get up every day and you got to think about it, and you're doing it full time, and I'm doing it full time too, but it hasn't, it still doesn't feel like a grind. After this many years, if it felt like a grind, I couldn't do it.
This is my 7th year, which I mean, it's like time flies.
Yeah.
But it's hard. People who don't do this full time really can't grasp the kind of headspace that it takes up. Because even if you're only physically working, let's say 2, 3, 4 hours during the course of a day on a video, the rest of your waking time is focused on all of the things that you need, all of the elements have to go into the video, everything you got to remember, and it's a head full. But I mean, there is no better way to make a living.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trade this for anything.
I could never keep a job for more than a few months. So to do this for 15 years, and when I think about it, is pretty outrageous. Like that's like kindergarten to end of bachelor's degree at university. That's a gigantic amount of time for somebody who's virtually unemployable.
I am hardcore unemployable. Really bad.
By the way, I know I did watch the 2 carburetor videos you did that you were complaining didn't get any views. I was like, I want to see that one, the CV carburetor one for motorcycles, because we have motorcycles. So I did want to say that I saw them if nobody else did.
It still only got like 17,000 views. I don't know what happened. You would think with all the CV carburetors in the world and all of the problems that people have with CV carburetors, you would think. But there's a lot of videos like that are sleepers. You put them out and they don't get any views, but you'll see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, it's just this steady line straight up, because just through the course of time, people are searching CV carburetor and bog and hesitation and blah, blah, blah. And that video keeps getting shared. So, but Ross Peter Derricks is saying he remembers when Rich Thomas Racing fired up a funny car at his house. Many police showed up that day. Dude, I had a double A fuel altered, which is a funny car with a T-bucket body, right? I used to fire it up in my driveway. I used to do chirpies with the freaking thing, and this was in New York City. My neighbors were the most. I mean, I lived on Staten Island, Caton Avenue in Staten Island. My poor freaking neighbors, what I put them through. But I had the nitro sickness at the time, and I like when I say the nitro sickness, I mean I went to a bad place where it's like I was running my lawnmower on nitro. Lighting my barbecue on nitro. Anything I ever cooked tastes like nitro. Like Kathy will tell you, I went way out there. So walking away when I did was like a mental health type of. It was bad, man. It was a bad sickness.
Had some patient neighbors to not still be in jail.
The bitch got his nitro, sticks her claws in you, and it's just.
Yeah, well, so many things worth doing are like that, and I think that how do you ever really get good at anything if you're not obsessed by it to a slightly unhealthy degree? Like anybody I know who's good at guitar had 10,000 hours on the guitar before they were 15 years old. And you see those kids, they'd lock themselves in the room at 14 and come out at 18 and change the world, and that you have to be obsessed if you really want to take something. I have a good friend who's an airline pilot, and he locked himself in his room at 12 years old with Flight Simulator and came right out and flying 777s
That's awesome.
Yeah, like just hardcore. He's the guy that photographed our calendar, my friend James. And he does the photography as a hobby, but that's the kind of hobbyist he is. He's very serious, you know.
Driveway Misfits saying, where else are you going to find a 59 Buick, an Edsel, and a Citroen in the same video? There you go. Ground zero car for the car guy. It's just absolute perfect. Foob Zero's in the house. Foobar's in the house. Welcome, my brothers.
Foobar, cheers. Thank you for putting the link up, buddy.
Oh, did he put up a link to your channel?
Yes, thank you, man.
Where is it? How far back is that?
Oh, I don't know. I always get so far behind on this. We did say we would try and read a few questions, yeah?
Yeah, I want to stick with these. I want to, these guys, we neglected them the last time.
Yeah.
Izzy, long time no see, man. How are you?
It's so easy to just sit here and shoot the shit.
It is. But we have a responsibility, man. We got right, people here. I can't find. So what do you guys put up the link to Scott's channel so that I can pin it here?
Yeah, Foobar did already.
Foobar
I don't know how to. I think that's your baby. There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Go over there, guys. Give them a sub, ring the bell, do all of that stuff. You will absolutely.
And thank you. Last time I did this, I got like 2 weeks worth of subscribers in 2 hours. So
excellent.
Much appreciated. Yeah. And so I'm happy to do it. Thunderstruck Truckster. Jesus, sorry guys. Thunder Truckster 666 says, do you guys have a car that you have to get rid of but can't stand the idea of selling it? Yeah, I think that's a kind of easy one for me. It's pretty obvious that I have that problem pretty bad. I mean, I have cars I bought when I was 16. I still own them. And I probably should have sold all but 2 or 3. So that's an easy one for me to answer, which would be almost every one of them. I have my 67 Fury that I bought in high school. I still drive that. And my 61 Plymouth Belvedere, which I probably should have sold 20 years ago. And now I'm doing brakes on it to put it back on the road because I'm just a sad case.
The only one that I should get rid of, I have a 64 Dart 170 slant. Well, it's a model 170 with a. Did I tell you the story about this car? We named it Mrs. Landy. I don't even know how this came about, but it looks like the car that like Dick Landy's wife would have driven in 1954.
For sure.
So the story with this car is that it was purchased by the original family out in Memphis, Tennessee, in November of 1963, and I think it was the same week as the Kennedy assassination. So they drove it, and then for the rest, until I acquired it, it was passed from first driver to first driver. So for many generations, it was everybody's first car in that family.
Yeah. So,
and then eventually they ran out of new drivers and the car sat for a little bit and I bought it. So when I got it, we tried to calculate out the mileage, and it had been in continuous use from 1963 until when I picked it up, which was like 2015, 10 years or so. And we calculated that it has approximately 1 million miles on it.
That's unbelievable.
Engine still runs strong, right? The transmission, it's all
the car that could do it,
But it's been parked now for, I guess, since I started the channel. I used it for a daily driver. I can't tell you how many miles on it, and then I just parked it. And I should get rid of the car because I'll never do anything with it. But at the same time, I kind of want to hold on to it because it's just one of those things. It's like a friendly, it's like it's not taking up any valuable space. It's not taking up any head space. But I find that I have to get rid of cars when they start taking up more headspace than they should be allotted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, I guess I have enough yard that when they start getting in my head, I can just push them out back, and a lot of my cars have their purpose is to sit in the yard and hold drinks up. So, a lot of them are there just to make me happy, and they make me happy by just sitting there. I I have a very minimal standard for them, which is air in the tires, no broken glass, and complete. It has to look like a car. I don't want junk. I don't want parts. I don't want doors missing. But if it's a complete car and it has its dignity and it can sit there and nobody else, people say you should sell those to somebody who's going to restore them. Nobody's going to restore them. You know, I've been in this game. I see what people's restorations look like. Nobody's restoring these cars. They're mostly going to get taken apart, and then somebody will run out of beer, and it'll get pushed outside, and then it goes to the junkyard. So it's easy for me to give that kind of thing a home, as long as it fits in my rough kind of post-war to 1960 display that I've done there. So.
Tula Toilet, didn't Kathy do some bracket racing with Mrs. Lindy? Yes.
Really?
So it ran a 21-second eighth mile.
Oh.
So do the math on that. It's putting like 35 horsepower to the ground. So she ran like a 21-second eighth mile. 21-second eighth mile, and she lost by a breakout. She ran like a 20.9 something eighth mile to a 19 second, or was it 18 second Oldsmobile Bravada. It was the slowest drag race in all of history, okay? And it was the most intense and exciting drag race I have ever seen.
Oh, sure.
It took so long.
It's got time to build tension, yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. Kathy left the starting line, and she's oozing past the tree, and then the Bravada starts going, and it was like,
well, you come down to the end and watch them, man.
No, she was like, I hit right down the track, and I'm standing up, I'm like, go!
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get my Model T into the 20s this year.
Nice.
Yeah, we marked out a quarter mile in front of my friend's place, and I've been running my Model T. I got a 30.3, and I'm trying to get it in the 20s this year. Yeah. And it'll do it. I know there's some faster T's out there. Some of them, I didn't realize when I did the video, just as a joke, that suddenly there's a half a dozen other Model T channels who were like, let's run our cars, and so somebody's made a little chart and everything with how everybody's Model Ts, and I thought I would be like the champion. There's some fast Model Ts out there, and so I got to get it really dialed in this year. You know,
my buddy Jim Bennett had a Model T, and that's exactly what we were going to do. He died. He had a stroke a few years ago, but he had a Model T sitting in his shop, and I was like, let's take this thing to the track and let's make it happen. You know?
Yeah. The wind resistance becomes a factor at about 30 miles an hour with those things. It's just a sheet of plywood straight up in the air, you know. The race car, yes.
Which one is that?
I started on kind of a lark building a scratch built like a pre-war Formula car.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like a big long cigar shaped single seater type with external exhaust pipes, and it's quite a ferocious thing. And I built it. My neighbor donated me an old water truck, and it had a Lincoln 368 type of block in it. It was like a Mercury 5-ton truck. I took the engine out, and just as a lark, I said, I'll make a race car out of this or whatever. And so he bet me that I never would. And of course, right now he's winning the bet because it's been 15, 16 years since I started it. And I just made the frame and the body. It's very, you know, it's made out of all Ford truck parts. You know, the old Mercedes SSKs with the double drop frame and the leaf springs front and rear. It kind of looks like that. And it's got Brooklands windscreens on it, and it's mostly done. And then it's just a difficult thing because my channel, I would have finished it, but so much of what the channel is, you know, for instance, people watch the show because they went to school in a 68 Plymouth or a 59 DeSoto or whatever, and they have fond memories of this stuff, but nobody really got dropped off at swimming lessons in a scratch built tube, you know, in a race car. So it doesn't really work with a lot of what else I'm doing. So whenever I do videos on it, they don't really do very well. And I've got 8 other cars on the go. So sadly, it's kind of keeps getting pushed back, but it's almost done. It's got great big, 120 by 3-inch tires on it. And it would be a neat thing. I'd like to see it done. It's mostly Ford. It's got a Ford F1 front axle and Ford truck brakes and Ford truck leaf springs, and this frame and body are scratch built. And yeah, it was just a lark. I thought it would take 2 weeks, and here we are 15 years later. It's not done yet.
It's a shame when you have an idea for a car, a project, you get that far into it and you find that the audience just isn't. It's one of the problems with doing YouTube.
It is.
A million cars you build for yourself, but who the hell wants to see it?
Yeah, and I started it before YouTube was a thing, and I didn't show it on the channel for many years. And then one day I thought, oh, well, maybe this will surprise people. And so I showed it, but it just, again, it's just a little bit, it's not relatable, I guess, is the problem. Now, it doesn't mean I don't want to finish it, but it's not, as I say, nobody got dropped off at swimming lessons and something like that. So this nostalgia drives a lot of what I'm doing, and I'm okay with that.
What's that race in Atlantic City called?
The Race of Gentlemen?
Yeah, that one. Is that the kind of car that would fit in there?
Well, I think in spirit, yes, but I think the rules are very strict. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a post-war engine in it. Like, it was meant to be something I could throw together with literally whatever was in my yard.
Right.
So it's got a Ford 8-inch in the back and an F1 axle in the front. And, so it's not really pure in that sense. It was more meant to look like an insane person stole it from a museum and is driving it to get groceries. And in that sense, it will be a success, but it is, it has no home when it's done other than as an amusement thing for me. Like, there's no class of places I can take that and race it. But it's going to have headlights and whatever. It'll be a street-worthy car.
I just got a shout out here to Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage. Do you know Jamie?
I do not. I've never spoken to him, but of course I know of him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, if anybody here that doesn't know Jamie, the absolute best Mopar channel on all of YouTube. I don't consider myself a Mopar channel. He's like a Mopar channel. And so any of you guys, Mopar people, Dead Dodge Garage, go over there and give him a sub. We had a super chat here from Barrow's Garage. What's happening?
Oh, cheers.
For you, man. I have a lead on a 56 Mercury Monty that's missing the grille, but have a complete 55 Ford Crestline front clip. How close are the two? I don't care about trim. Dig what you both do.
That's a good question. I don't think in that era that Fords and Mercs have interchangeable firewalls and such. So I think you might find that it doesn't fit. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, that if you go back that far, maybe about in the 60s, I think you could bolt Ford and Mercury sheet metal on. And I know Chrysler stuff, I kind of could tell you pretty much to the day what's interchangeable. But with those cars, I think you'd be wise to take a measuring tape, because I suspect that the Mercury is wider and probably longer ahead of the windshield as well.
D. Stroud, Tony should do something with the Blue 68 Roadrunner. Here's the thing with that car, right? I built it, I guess 15 years ago now. And I did it. It was the car that I wanted back when I was a kid. And it's literally built as a 1970s New York City street rat, like literally, or completely authentic, like down to every single nut and bolt on the car is from that era, right? The whole underneath it's painted white. It's got a dual quad 3D3 in it. It's automatic on the column. It's a street rat. It's a New York City street rat. And after I built it, I realized that scene doesn't exist anymore. Like the part of the world that car would fit into, with a 4,000 RPM converter and 410 gears and all of the stuff that it has, doesn't exist on the street anymore. So it doesn't. I don't want to redo the car. In my mind, it's perfect the way it is. And what can I do with it on the channel except take it out and drive around the block and put it back? It doesn't fit in anywhere. So that's why it just sits and sits and sits. Eventually, I'll do something with it. Rocco is saying the 68 would be Tony's last video. There's a good possibility of that.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Well, and you're not getting rid of it because, you know, I'm not getting rid of my first guitar, right? Like it has, and people have given me shit sometimes. Oh, you should sell that to somebody else. I'm like, you don't know why I keep it. Just because I don't drive it every day doesn't mean that I don't want it. Its purpose is different than being transportation at that point.
Right.
And you keep that, and I mean, how many of cars of that style that you just described still exist? Probably very few. They've either been restored or scrapped.
Right, exactly. You won't find another one like it. You'd need a time machine to find another car like that.
Yeah.
So I keep it because it makes me happy. You know, I just like that it's there, and someday I'll use it, or maybe I won't. I don't know, but I just like that it's there.
And it makes you just as happy whether you drive it or not.
Right. I have a motorcycle that's like that too. I have a 2002 883R that I'm trying to keep pristine. Right. Actually, I just found a perfect fender for it, so I swapped over the fender. And it's like, I have other bikes. I have much better bikes, but there's just something about that particular bike. It's beautiful. I love it because it's beautiful. I love to look at it, and I want to keep it pristine. And I'll take it out like every couple of weeks or so. I'll go around the block just to make sure the battery stays charged and the fluids are all circulated. And I have like zero interest in driving it or riding it. I just like it because it's there and it's beautiful. It talks to me like that.
Yeah. And I've got cars that I had since high school that I drive once a year. I don't need it, but at this point, are you going to get rid of it? Like, it's not worth anything to anybody else. So,
right. Yeah, that's the thing. There are some vehicles that don't really have a price. They don't have a monetary value. They mean something to you. You know, and it can be something stupid. It doesn't make any difference. You know, I had a Charger. I remember when I was younger, I had a Charger at one of my shops, and I loved it just because the way it would sit, like when it would snow. In New York City, there's always snow. The way the snow would fill in the body lines on it. And I was like, you know, the upper body line, the upper crease where it goes like this in the fender and the door. And it was like, I just love that. And it could just sit there forever. I just love its silhouette, you know? So I don't know. We're weird, man. We're weird people.
Well, if you keep it dry and keep it inside and it's not doing it any harm, whatever, right? Keep it forever.
Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Scott, I fumble when I try to convince people that tell me the same thing. Why don't you get rid of this thing? I think it's something that all car guys are like that to some extent. It's just you can't put a price on it. You know what I mean? It's just
and I don't know. I mean, I have sold cars. I think it's, you know, obviously I've sold some pretty nice cars that I really thought that I was going to miss, but I didn't. And you know, but they weren't personal to me. Like it wasn't my grandfather's car. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like It was a car that I liked and I had it and it was a lovely car, but I needed funding for something else. And so the car had to go. And I thought, do I miss the car? Only when I think about it, which is, you know, only when I'm in a situation like this, when you try and think, is there any cars that I kind of miss? Well, sure, I miss it, but do I regret it? Like, did I take the money and lose it all gambling that night? No, I don't regret it. I mean, the money went to, in the case of the car, it was a beautiful AMC Ambassador, 1967, the fastback with the 343 Typhoon or whatever was under there. Lovely car, beautiful, had the brocade interior, very low miles. And it was a nice car, but it went to a good home, and it financed my first run of T-shirts that I did many years ago. So no regrets, you know. So there's ones like that, and then there's some cars I regret selling. My '69 Dart, my first car. I'd like to find that again, but you know, that's because it's your first car. But whatever.
I could say the only car I think I regret getting rid of, and I got rid of this thing. I was 21 years old. I don't know this, so this is a long time ago. But I had a '72 Roadrunner 400 4-speed bare stripper car, was gold with like a tan interior, bench seat interior, and that car was perfection. There was just everything about that car. I loved it. I have nothing but the fondest memories of it. And that one car, I really regret getting rid of. And the rest of them, it's like they come, they spend a little time, and then they move on. And have you ever had a mercy killing?
I'm not sure.
A car that was just so jacked that you're just like, you know what? Okay, you cannot go forward in this world. Have you ever had one like that?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's cars where you get into it a bit, and then you're like, this car is poo poo, and then it becomes. But if it's a model of car that you want, then you just buy a better one, and then it becomes a donor, which is just as noble and more noble than crushing it. I've had a couple of cars that were like, because I have a lot of cars on the road, they only can be allocated X number of hours in maintenance. And I had one or two that were just like, you're taking up way more of my time than you really should be for how much I like you. And it was a Saab, funny enough. I had a Saab 99, and I never really understood the people who bought them or why they bought them. And then I got this one, and I got it going, and I fixed it up, and I did a YouTube video on it. This would be 2013, a dozen years ago anyway. And I got it going. I like instantly loved the car. Like, they are so fun to drive. I thought, why do people buy these? But because I've had Volvos, and I thought, well, I'll try a Saab. The Saab is so much cooler, so much more fun. And I don't drive my cars hard, but the Saab was like, it was just it wanted to be beat, cars like that. Yeah. It was like that. It was like, you're not going fast enough into this corner. You are a coward. And it was so fun to drive. But every time you wanted to go somewhere, there'd be two burned out lights that you'd have to fix. And it was always the fuse box was located under the hood, right behind the front tire or something. Like, they were just nightmare cars. And every time you wanted to go somewhere, there was two burned out bulbs, or it had the funny lockout on the shifter. Remember, Saabs had the key down low, and it would lock you out when you couldn't get it into gear because it would lock itself in reverse at the gas station at 3 a.m. And a couple of these incidents, and I had a Porsche 924 that would vapor lock so bad that I was just like, sell. Like, I sold it so cheap. I was like, I don't want to ever see this car again. And so I've had a couple that I was just like, no, I don't ask much for my car. Don't leave me stranded. Start when I tell you, and don't make me do 45 minutes of maintenance to go to the store to buy a soda.
I had one that I built about 5 years ago on the channel.
Uh-huh.
On a whim, I bought a Miata. So I'm driving down the road, and I see Miata sitting in front of a shop, and it was primed. It was roachy, right? And I was like, do I need that thing? If I get it for a song, so I buy the car for $200, right? Which is what the wheels were worth. It was like, I got a free Miata with the wheels. So I know, what do I do with this thing? So I bring it back to the shop, and I'm like, well, I got to turn it into some kind of content. So I'm thinking, let's put something different in here. And I happen to have a 170/6.
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
You watched that, okay? Yeah.
You were going to make a Gymkhana car out of it or something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So,
I love that. Yeah. I remember asking you what happened, but I think you sold it, right?
Well, what happened was, right, I put the car together and I ran it around the parking lot, and it was fun. I mean, it handled really good. It would drift and stuff. But I'm not a corner turner. It just doesn't do anything for me. So, and time is difficult for me. For me to get away from life here in general is hard. So to go to an event like an autocross event or something like that I'm not really into, I couldn't justify it. So I tried to get other people to take the car. And I'm like, here, take this car. I'll pay all your expenses. Just take this car and go use it someplace. And I had 3 people say, take me up on this deal. Like, yeah, I want to do that. That's great. No show. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, I always wanted to do something like that. No show. And so the third time, it was like, okay, you know what? You got to go, right?
Yeah.
So I broke the car down. I parted it out. I sold what I could. I scrapped with the rest, and I swept off the pile of debris off the floor. And I was like, goodbye, good riddance. I will never do it again.
I think we mentioned, I was thinking 24 hours of Lemon's car, but you mentioned that you had looked into that and it was a bit too rules infested.
Yeah, they want it's the car has to have nothing in it, but you need $10,000 worth of safety equipment, and then you need 4 drivers, and each driver has to have a full suit. And it's like, let's get real here, right?
Oh yeah.
So, and again, I'm not a corner guy. I don't understand corners. I understand accelerating from zero. That's all I know. That's all I really care about. Or just driving down the road. I love cars that just drive down the road and have character. And beyond that, I have no interest. So you can't you can't force yourself to be into something that you're not into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been very fortunate that I never got the go fast sickness because it's very expensive. But I certainly never. I did end up with the you need more cars sickness. So I guess I'm still kind of ruined. But
I built back in God, when was this? 1992, 1993. I built a AA fuel altered. Okay. Complete car, right? 23T bucket body, an iron 426, 871 blower, everything, and a drum of nitro. My total cost in the car was $5,000, and I ended up running 202 miles an hour in the 8th with it. It was a good car. It was a good combination. It was a flyweight car. I had like a Star Wars tune-up on it with modern tires and modern track prep. So it was like, it hit hard. It hit really hard. Actually, the car put me in a hospital, tire shake. But that's another story entirely. But you can build cheap. You can build. What I did was everybody that I worked for, because at that time I was bouncing from car to car to car, the nitro cars, and I was like, what are you doing with those? What are you doing with those heads over there? What are you doing with those rockers over there? And like, all right, come to this match race and you can have that stuff. So I ended up trading labor on those cars for leftover hand-me-down parts, and I put it all together, and $5,000. My total investment.
Be some kind of a record for a car with that kind of performance.
I included a drum of nitro. It was like the first drum of Chinese nitro I had ever seen. And nobody wanted it. I got the whole drum of nitro for like $100. Nobody wanted this thing because it had like this stuff floating around in it. It looked like an egg drop soup. It's the only way I can describe it. And it smells like mold. It burned great. It smelled like nitro coming out the pipes. My neighbors could tell you that. But I got a drum of nitro for $100. I had to run it straight. People were like, so how much nitro are you running in? And I'd be like, throwing a can at it, man. No alcohol. I couldn't afford alcohol. There's no way I could afford alcohol. So I just ran the thing 100% nitro.
That's awesome. I've been. Well, we got. Sorry.
Yeah, we're ignoring the audience again, man.
Well, yeah, I just thought we should
do that. I'm scrolling.
Well, we're having fun anyway, so that's good. Thank you guys all for stopping in. I'm deeply honored to be here. Somebody asked where in Alberta I am.
Well, Thunderbird 1968 says, "Holy crap, Scott! I think you're my neighbor."
I might be.
Where are you, Thunderbird? He wants to know if he can come over sometime. That could be weird.
Then you don't have the what? Oh, that's not me. Sorry.
Ed, how do you know this? Ed, he said, Tony, you must have done some arm wrestling in your day. How did you know that? Because I did, and I was like undefeated. I was like for years, not officially arm wrestling, but bars and stuff like that. I never lost to like anything. How did you know that? And it was only because I was a mechanic. I had a steel wrist.
Somebody had a good one. Rust Beaters Derelicts asks, is there a production car is too odd or obscure for me that I won't work on it? I generally won't work on cars that are too valuable that I couldn't replace it. For my own self, no, the weirder the better, I guess. I don't know much about rotary cars, so I stay away from stuff that I can't fix with a drill and a hammer kind of cars. I have an SM, which is a notoriously difficult car to own, and it's kind of a badge of honor that your SM is a nightmare. I mean, if you didn't know that when you bought one, then you didn't do even the tiniest first page of research on them. So I guess I would say that if I have a SM, that you'll pretty much work on anything else. They're vastly irritating to work on. But I also have a very competent French mechanic friend who I call him the Citroën Suicide Prevention Hotline, and I phone him up whenever I can't get my car to come off the ground or whatever. And he worked on Citroën from 1955 as a 14-year-old apprentice on the DS model when it first came out. So he spent basically his whole career on one car, and the SM, the Maserati one. And so having a guy like that in your corner gives you a lot of confidence to buy sketchy, weirdo, rusty French junk. And so much with so many cars that are thought to be, and I think you would agree, Tony, on this, that what we used to think of as highly exotic and fussy stuff is not, like, by the standards of modern cars.
Oh no,
like Ferraris and SMs and stuff are simple. I mean, they don't have a 4-cam Ferrari doesn't have variable valve timing, so it's already less complex than a modern pickup truck.
You're right about that. You look at cars that we thought back in the day were like, oh no, you got to be a specialist to touch that. And that was like a fucking one tractor.
Yeah.
I know. Like, everything is relative.
Run-of-the-mill minivans are vastly more sophisticated than any high-performance hyper sports car from 1975.
So Thunderbird 1968 is in Ardrossan. Are you near that?
Yeah, I'm near Ardrossan. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Maybe you are neighbors.
Yeah, probably close. Yeah, it's probably driven by my house.
And you got a stalker. Jack Dietert says he can see your property on Google Maps.
Yeah. Well, I have to be careful of that kind of thing, just because it's hard enough to get stuff done, with when you're trying to do this, like, and I bet you and I both, you get up and you're not ever sitting around wishing you had something to do, and so it's a balancing act with a lot of this on YouTube, to be accessible and friendly, but not to the point where you can't actually do what you set out to do. And so I have to be careful with that kind of thing.
I go to I'm in a subdivision. You're out where the UFOs drop off Bigfoot, and I'm in a subdivision in a city. So it's just inevitable when you get to the channel gets to about my size, it's inevitable that you've got viewers in your neighborhood, and you're gonna go get gas, and it's like, I know you. So it happens all the time. And when I'm not actually doing YouTube, like if I'm not doing a live like this, or I'm not shooting a video, I try to put it out of my, like, I don't think of myself as a YouTuber. You know what I mean? I think of myself as I'm a mechanic and I'm going to go shoot a video about this thing that I know about, and that's my mindset to this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird when people. When did it happen? It happened today. It happened today. I was looking for extra shop space because I'm thinking about hiring a helper just to take care of some of the dirty work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have enough space at my shop, so I was looking at some other space. So while I'm there, I'm talking to the owner, and the guy pulls up who also has space in there, and he says, "I know you. I was just watching one of your videos last night." You know, how weird is that?
Yeah, it is. Jonathan W says he just quit eating and sleeping. That's how he gets so much done. Yeah. That guy, like I'm a bum compared to Jonathan. That guy, and still holding down. Dan, DD Speed Shop Dan.
Yeah.
There's another guy managing to put out 4 videos a week and hold down a full-time job. That's not easy. And
he would probably do a lot better if he quit the full-time job and just put content out. I told him that years ago. It's like, you know, some people don't want to let go of the security blanket, and I can understand that. I can't really relate to it. I can understand it, but I can't imagine holding down a job and having your head there. And he has a responsible job. It's not like he's just he's a manager. So he's got a lot going on. He's got a lot in his head. And then to do the YouTube stuff on top of that, that's.
Yeah, well, he must be one of those guys who can get by like Jonathan on 4 hours a night or whatever. My friend Dean gets by on 4 or 5 hours a night. I can't. I just can't. I'm grouchy enough when I get 8. And so.
I used to be like that. You know, I just had this conversation this morning. You're supposed to be, when you get older, you're supposed to need less sleep. I'll turn 63 next week. When I was in my 30s, 40s, 50s, yeah, I get by in 4 hours, no problem. Just let's go. I go to sleep at midnight, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. By 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm running. I'm in action. Okay. And now I need 7 or 8 hours. I need a full night's rest. I walk around in a state of exhaustion anymore. I don't know where the whole nonsense comes from. That you need less sleep as you get older.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been happy to get lots. So, but I also found that if I go to bed at 5 in the morning, I'll sleep till noon, and if I go to bed at 2 in the morning, I'll sleep till noon. So you might as well stay up.
I years ago, I
like noon is my line. Like my neighbor comes over, and it doesn't matter if I'm up till 7 in the morning. If he sees me in bed at noon, he's, "You're up, bum," and he's right. But I still, like, at noon, I'm like, so now I might as well stay up because I'm going to sleep till noon anyway.
See, what I do years ago, I started incorporating a siesta. So I eat one meal a day. I eat it sometime between, let's say, 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I need like at least 45 minutes, an hour, unconscious time, digest, and then I'm up and I take care of the night shift.
Well, yeah, I can't. If I have a nap, I'm just ruined. I just don't know what day it is anymore, and I can't do anything. So,
is this a ZZ Top reunion?
That's awesome. Well, I am a big ZZ Top fan, that's for sure. But it doesn't have anything to do with this. This was my "Don't Talk to Me" beard. When the world went insane, I realized if you looked like a dangerous wino, that nobody would tell you to put a mask on.
People are always telling me, get a haircut and shave your beard.
That's funny.
I guess, and get a real job, right?
Yeah, get a real job. Yeah, still waiting. Yeah. So
I'm just rolling through the comments here.
Yeah, for sure.
You see anything? Upper just took a 10-minute nap while watching. There you go.
There was. Oh, sorry. Just seeing people. 1950 Special Deluxe is here, checking in from Saskatoon. That's great. It's fun to see so many people that I recognize. D. Strauss says the stuff being made today will be unfixable when it's 30 years old. I would say 10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah,
10 years old. This is something I've been preaching about forever. And people thought I was nuts 30 years. See, I've gone full circle. Back when I was doing the magazines in the 80s, the technology was new. And I was like, I can adapt to this. I can wrap my head around this. So I had the 5-liter Mustang. I did a drag test on the Turbo T-Type. There's an article I did in Cars Illustrated called From Buick with Balls. And I did this whole sidebar. So this is 1986, I think it was. It was 86 or 87. It doesn't matter, right? It's 40 years ago. And I did this whole page sidebar on how in the future, kids are going to be working with these computers and doing all of this other shit the same way that we, swap jets and curve distributors. The next generation is going to be all about working with these computers, and this is great, And then, like, it kind of turned the corner. I realized whenever I had to work on a car, like come the mid 1990s, anytime I had to work on a car, I spent more time driving the car, trying to get it to go through, like even just to get something inspected. You had to go through the whole drive cycle. I spent more time driving a car with the scanner and watching and waiting for stuff to happen, and that you couldn't work on it anymore. And I saw the handwriting on the wall there. I was like, no, this is not the same. It's like people don't just bring you a car and it needs a water pump. People don't just bring you a car because they can't get it started. People bring you a car because these mysterious problems that pop the check engine light on, and then you got to go through heaven and hell to find out what's going on. And these were still relatively simple cars. And that's when I went full circle back to it. I said, you know what? Points and carburetors, man. I don't want to have anything to do with this shit. And now the general public is starting to catch on, and I see it more and more. There's a lot of videos out there. Mechanics, people who are in the industry, and they're like, no, this stuff that they're building today is disposable. You're buying, a Dixie cup. You're going to use it for the period of time you're paying a loan on it, and you're going to throw it away.
It's not just so much anymore that it's complex or difficult to fix. It's deliberately designed to not be fixed.
Yep.
Like, it's actually maliciously unfixable.
Absolutely.
Not just that you're not good enough or smart enough or don't have the right tools. It's maliciously designed to take your money and turn into garbage.
Yep. The plastic parts and the cooling systems and the way they route them, let's say underneath intake manifolds and whatnot, it's doomed to fail. And it's major surgery to fix it.
Right.
I just watched a video.
Our thermostat, this type of thing. And
an hour.
Modern cars, they make the SM look sensible.
I just watched a video. I don't remember the name of the channel, but this is exactly what we're talking about now. He had to replace a thermostat on a GM car. I don't remember which one it was, but it was turbocharged. And in order to change the thermostat, you need to disconnect the turbocharger and get it out of the way. Right? Okay, fine. These are steps you got to take. It comes with washers, right? There are 6 washers that are associated. Did you see this? Okay, there are 6 washers that are associated with this assembly, and you need to change them. They're single-use washers. They have a rubber, like a metal washer with a rubber. You've seen them like an air conditioning, like an AC washer. You can only get them through the dealer, and they were $14 each. This is a washer. It's literally an AC washer, but it's configured to fit the fittings on this GM turbocharger. So what's 14 times 6? You're going to do a thermostat job, and now you're going to pay what, almost $100 for the washers to put the turbocharger back. How do you justify that?
How do you justify having to replace an entire taillight for $600 when it just doesn't come on? As far as I'm concerned, the time has come, but of course there's not enough of us, but the time has come to just boycott new cars altogether. But they seen this coming, and that's why they crushed all the good used ones over the last 20 years. Under the guise, the phony environment, we could get into that rabbit hole, obviously, but this is a deliberately constructed takedown.
Yep.
And that's what's happening. And they dress it all up with bigger screens and fancier radios in the cars, but the screen's there to track you, you know, and the car is designed to fall apart. Not even fall apart. This was something the Japanese figured out after they got such a bad rap in the 70s. Maybe you'll agree with me. They figured out how to make, like, for instance, where I'm from, you'd be driving a 1969 Dodge Monaco in 1987, and the quarters are falling off, the fenders are falling off. It looks just like a bag of assholes, right? Just garbage. It looks like hell, terrible, but still running fine, right?
Yep.
But that, you know, people see that rusty, terrible car, and what does it say on the trunk? Chrysler or Dodge or whatever. The Japanese figured out, make them fall apart underneath, so that car still looks good on the road. And then one day the trailing arm falls off and it goes straight to the junkyard, still looking good. And that was a turning point. And you don't see as much anymore. You see a little cosmetic rust to kind of make you, you know, the neighbors will kind of sneer at you, so you'll trade it in. But you don't see the crumbling garbage still running like you used to. Mm-hmm. And that was an engineering decision that they made sometime in the 90s, 80s, 90s. And
I go to pull apart. I see cars that are absolutely pristine, perfect paint, perfect interiors. Yeah, and relatively late model looking. They don't look out of date, but they're mechanically totaled because what happened? I don't know. How like so if you go back to our era, we were first coming up in this stuff, right? Turning wrenches. Mechanically totaled, is that even remotely possible?
No,
of course
they were repairable. These rusty cars, well, another $20, it's good for another year, right? And oh, what's the worst that happens? You know, a cooler line to the radiator, or whatever. It's $20 fixes you can do in your driveway. Kept these rotten cars on the road, and that's not happening anymore, right? And this is that's all. I mean, is it an inevitable result of you know, tens of thousands and millions of hours of engineering? I mean, it's why they all look the same now, because they all use the same software. Most of it's subcontracted out. The body design and everything is like Larry's Body Designs, and they just crank them out. Different sticker on the hood, but it's like the 737 thing where they just kind of grandfathered the clearance. You know, they rather like, oh, the other 737s are good, so you don't have to test this one, right?
Okay, yeah.
Doing this with cars now is like, well, if you want 5-star crash rating, here's a shell ready to go. Your R&D time goes to 0. Put your own sticker on the hood. Nobody cares. Put a different screen in it. And I mean, to me, these are not cars in any sense anymore, other than in name. And so
they are disposable appliances. We've got them down now to where they will last for the term of the loan.
Yeah,
that's it. You're not going
to get longer and longer too, as people get more and more, you know, ruined.
Oh, people are at like 7-year loans and they're paying like $750 a month.
10 years.
Yeah, it's just insanity.
That's insane, right?
I couldn't imagine having a car payment. Well, I did. I had a car payment. I bought my Mustang new, right? The payment was $171 a month. And I remember how it burned my ass every time I had to write the check. I was making tons of money at the time. It didn't matter to me. I don't care how much I'm making. To make a payment on a car, that's just insanity. Why would anybody do something like that?
And it's so weird because it seems so obvious. Like, I had to figure it out when I was 16. You're telling me I can buy a car for $150 and a can of Bondo for $20 and a set of used tires at the junkyard, and I'm driving. I'm getting to work on the same time as the guy with the new car, and he's making $500 a month payments for 5 years. And like, I'm still driving these cars that I bought in high school. They're still fine. And so the whole thing is just, it's inexplicable to me. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why anybody is just not driving a $500 car. But
most people don't think along those lines. They're brainwashed. But here's the thing, right? I see where we are going to, societally, right? Our civilization is based around the car. We're going to have a bona fide crisis within the next very short period of time. The next, let's say, someplace 5 years, 3 to 5 years, 6 years, 7 years out, when all of these disposable cars, the post-COVID cars, right? Actually, it goes back before that. But once all of these completely, once these software, well, all it is a device to carry, software. Once these cars are done, there's nothing to replace them. The cheaper, the poorer people, the ones that are struggling, they're not going to have the option. There's not going to be a viable used car market.
Well, and that's what, and how do they dress it all up? Save the planet, right? How can anybody argue with saving the planet, right? But it's a con.
I think that's over. I think that the people have. Okay, so again, you got to go back. Perspective, guys our age. Okay, in when I remember in the 70s in school, they told us everything was going to be under glaciers. Right, we had the next ice age coming in 10 years because of this, and then it was all of the sea levels are going to rise because of that, and then it was the hole in the ozone layer is going to get you, and all of these different things. Like every generation, every 10 years or so, has its own end of the world scenario based on some crazy climate thing that never ever comes to pass. So I think at this point, the general public has finally come to realize it's a grift. It's a freaking grift.
It's a grift, and it's now.
Yeah, acid rain. I forgot about acid rain. That's going to kill all the crops. You're not going to have any food. Yeah.
Well, we're making a big garden this year. Tell you that.
Oh yeah. We didn't plant the garden this year. We should have, but yeah, there's things happening, man. There's crazy things happening. But ultimately,
question here: do I ever drop into the Tuesday night car meet at the old Tim Hortons? I haven't so far. There used to be a Tuesday night thing at the Safeway in Sherwood Park. I took the T to that a couple of times. Honestly, it's funny. I don't get out much, and it's not because of anything other than I have not woken up in the last 10 years and thought, oh, there's nothing I need to work on. It's just, if I'm awake, I better be fixing cars, so. But I would like to take a few different cars out this year. I definitely will. I'll probably see you there for sure.
Josh Homan is saying that's right. Humans will never destroy the planet. The statistic is you could take every living being on the planet currently and put them in Texas, and everybody gets 15 square feet. So you could take the entire population of the planet, okay, move them all to Texas, they get 15 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
We don't take up the bulk of this planet.
Room for a big hat.
Yeah. We don't take up as much room on this planet as we perceive. Like we'll live in, well, he doesn't, but like if you live in a population center like I do, you think that the whole world is like this. There's traffic everywhere, and but no, fly over this country or drive through this country. And same thing with actually more so in Canada. It's vast, and there's zero there, right? We could not hurt the planet if we wanted to. And if we did hurt the planet, it would shake us off like fleas. It would be like, you're done. And then the planet would just re-energize itself, reinvigorate itself, do whatever, and just keep marching on. No, we cannot hurt the friggin' planet.
That's
laugh at us.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we're going to passively destroy it. You can certainly deliberately destroy it, but I don't think anybody wants that.
I honestly don't think we even have the capability of doing that. We could destroy portions of it. We could wipe out what's currently on the surface. Yes. Does that destroy the Earth? No. The Earth will just regenerate itself. Maybe it'll take 100,000 years, maybe it'll take 1,000,000 years, maybe it'll take 30 million years, but the Earth will just come right back to where it is today and be the happy-go-lucky place that it's always been. So it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense.
Somebody said, oh, that might throw off the Earth's rotation. It just made me think of a mental game that I played with my brother. What if you took every car on the planet and faced them all the same way, faced them all due east, and then at count to 3 and everybody hit the gas at the same time?
I don't know.
Wonder what would happen. Do you think you could kind of give her one of these,
If you took every
car on the planet, every truck, and everybody dumped the clutch at exactly the same instant, could you think you could slow it down for a second? You'd have to do the math, but I bet
that's a damn good question, man.
It's a fun mental game, I think. But somebody could do the math. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but if you it would be. Or could you put all the cars in California, hit the gas at the same time, and push it into the ocean? No offense to anybody in California.
Even the people in California wouldn't mind if it's left into the ocean.
Everybody's got beachfront now.
I'm just going back through the.
Or you can speed it up. That's right. Barry Kuda said, or face the other way and speed it up a bit. Like this day is just dragging forever. Eh? Everybody turn around and hit the gas.
Anton Casero is saying, fact is humanity will destroy itself before it can ever hurt the planet in an unrepairable way. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. We have an overinflated sense of importance. That's all it is. We're collectively, as a species, we're egomaniacs.
Andrea says, who remembers when we got the plastic bags to save the trees? No, that's gone full circle. Now you can't get any bags. You go to the store and I buy this huge armload of shit and no offer of a bag whatsoever. Like, I'll pay. Charge me $1 for the bag. I don't care. No bags.
You got some crazy stuff going about
in the car, eh?
Zero is reassuring us. He says, our planet will be fine. He's been visiting here for over 150 years now. Trust me, you're good. See? There you go.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm rolling through the comments. If you see anything, pluck it out.
If you don't see a question, Kathy said, do you have any topics for when?
Oh, yeah, you got your topic list.
So I sent her like this huge 2-page list, and then she never showed it to you. So
go ahead, pick through it.
Oh, here's a fun one, and the audience can answer this one too. What's your automotive related skill that has saved you the most time and money over the years?
Welding.
Mm-hmm.
Welding by like by a mile.
Yeah, I would say body work for me, related. But a close second for me has been brakes. Cars with no brakes are virtually free because nobody will even test drive it. And so I bought some pretty nice cars that needed brake jobs for $200-$300, and I bought a nice Volvo from somebody who had obviously taken very good care of it, and they were asking real money for it. And I said, well, I pushed the pedal to the floor and I said $200, and they're like, oh, it's a nice car. So I just told the fellow's wife, I said, nobody's going to buy this car. You can't even test drive it. I said, here's my number. Phone me when you'll take $200. Next day, I had it for $200. So being able to do brakes, and that was the first thing I learned in shop class. Remember, we take shop class, and after you're done making the file project with the steering wheel puller or whatever they made you do, we learned how to do brakes. And I don't think I've bought a car that had functioning brakes since. It's been.
I know what you're talking about, because I remember back in New York when I was buying car after car after car. I can't tell you how many hundreds of cars I bought because they had no brakes.
They're virtually free, and people think, oh, it's got no brakes, I'm ruined, right? But it's usually $100 worth of parts in a couple of afternoons, and maybe it's just a reflection on myself that I tend to shop for cars that have price tags like that. But being able to do brakes, that was a huge one for me. As soon as I figured that out, I never. Plus, it's how's the guy going to defend himself when you say it's got no brakes? Oh, but you don't need brakes. Like there's no coming back from that. You got no bargaining power. It's got no brakes. I'll give you $200.
So I'm going to tell you how bad I am with the welding thing, right? Just on my own cars. I wouldn't do this to anybody else's, but just on my own cars. If I have to drill a hole to mount something, I just weld it in place. I don't want to deal with it. It's so much faster and easier just to go rather than drill a hole, find a nut and a bolt and everything.
Fully committed right off the bat.
Fully committed. That's it. Stay in there.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a personality type, I think, right? It's like you're willing to commit right now. Yeah.
I just want to get it over with.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, Mexican Spec is in the house. Mexican Spec, you've been telling me to try the horchata, right? You've been talking for months now, okay? So look, here's the horchata. Dude, I don't know what this is. I don't know what it's supposed to taste like. I said before, it's like a combination of coconut and feet. It's the only way that I can describe the taste of this. It's freaking horrid, bro. But I tried it. It's there.
Yeah, that was all you were committed to do was try it. Oh, my friend Kyle's asking me, when is the drag race between the Model T and the 1925 Dodge sedan going to happen? And I would say whenever he comes out, he's got to drive the T because I'll drive the Dodge. I just bought a 1925 Dodge. Yeah, fun car. Big 4-cylinder car. Somewhere north of 30 horsepower, but much heavier than the Model T. So it should be a pretty good, but the Dodge has 3 speeds and the T only has 2. So I'm betting pretty hard on the Dodge. But it's a much bigger sedan, so that'll be a fun race. We'll have to film that. Transmissions, great idea.
Yeah, learn just basic transmissions. I bought so many cars that don't have reverse. That was the big thing. Everything works great, doesn't have reverse.
No reverse. Yeah. Is that from putting it in gear when the fast idle, and then it kicks that little thing out of the way? Yeah. Yeah, my friend Dan did that to his dad's car. Like, he was a young kid, 12 years old, and his dad said go move that car, and he had started it up, and he forgot to tell him to kick it down before he put it in reverse. And yeah, that sound, ding, and nobody home.
I wish Kathy was. She's in the other room, but she's my witness to this. She's probably watching right now. We were kids. I was like, I don't know, 20 years old, 21 years old. I just met her, right? And I had a service station, a gas station on Castleton Avenue and Richmond Terrace on Staten Island. And I bought a pristine 69 New Yorker. It was white. I'll never forget this car. It was white. It was powder blue interior, pristine. I gave him $50 for it. Okay. It had no reverse. So now I'm busy with customer work, so I can't dig into this, but I need a car to get around with for right now. So I'm using a car. I picked her up, and what was I would park it in such a way that I could always roll out of the parking space. And I parked it, and somebody blocked me in. So I'm pushing the car back. This was on oh God, it was by a strip mall, right? And as I'm pushing the car back, a woman pulls up next to me, and she says, "Oh my God, that was my husband's car." Oh, I said, "This was your husband's car?" She says, "Yeah, he passed away." I says, "Oh, what happened?" He had a heart attack. He was pushing that car backwards, and he had a heart attack. Kathy is my witness.
Oh, sad and awesomely funny. I had one with the ring gear teeth chewed off, my old Belvedere. So the starter would skip, Yeah. I'd always try and park it on a hill, except that where I lived, it was dead flat, and I always had to park it on the street, and I was always hungover, and I'd have to go out and push the thing every morning and jump in and jam it into second and pop the clutch. And if it didn't start, I'd have to get out and push it back because there was a car in front of me, and and maybe that's why I quit drinking. That I did eventually get it fixed, but cars with screwed up ring gears are
well, I fixed many of those ring gears with the welder.
Yeah.
And then you grab the grinder and just cut yourself a tooth.
Kind of give yourself a rough tooth shape. Good enough. Right? Yeah.
They wear in after a while. So, Dad, go back to your list.
Oh, all right. Sure. For let's see. Well, there's a fun one. What's the weirdest it won't start problem you ever solved? Something that had you baffled and then other people baffled and then you figured it out. Because I'm taking notes here now. I might as well be taking notes.
Okay.
Because I run into a few.
It became known as a common problem afterwards, but I remember the very first time I came across this. And I had a buddy of mine who was a service manager over at a Ford dealer. Okay. And they had, it was a T-Bird. I don't remember what car it was, but it had the EQ4 in it. And this thing would have an intermittent deal where it wouldn't start and then it wouldn't run. Okay. And they threw everything they could at it. It was too inconsistent. So he says, do you want to take a crack at this car? I says, fine. So I brought it to my house. And what it turned out to be, like days I worked on this car. They worked on it for days. I worked on it for days. And what it turned out to be was a little pigtail connector that they put behind the battery. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, I think so.
The ground for the EQ system.
Oh, okay.
And then a separate wire, okay? And it had a pigtail connector that was right behind the battery. And it became corroded.
And that's all it took.
That's all it took. And then later on, as those cars aged, because this was still a new car, this was still like under warranty, and I guess it had a bad battery, a defective battery that put a lot of acid out, and so it gathered and it corroded that connection. And at times it wouldn't make it, and other times it would make it. And then later on, as those cars started to age out or started to become older, that became a more common problem.
Yeah.
First time you
now it's one of the first things you check.
Yeah, exactly.
No go where it'll crank, but it won't run. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. There was I had a weird one. I'll describe a weird one I had. My car, it was my Fraser. It's just an old Continental 6-cylinder. Would start and run perfectly, and it would start and idle, and then when you would try to drive it, it would start to miss and pop and backfire above a certain RPM. But so I checked the dwell on the points was dead on. The plugs I put all new plugs, did all the dumb stuff. Nothing didn't make any difference. And so I decided that I would put the timing gun on it, and it was perfect. The timing was perfect, like 3 degrees before, just like super old grandpa engine, like nothing, and would idle just like glass, just purr. You couldn't see nothing. And as soon as you revved it up, once I put the timing gun on it, I noticed that the timing was everywhere. It was jumping from 20 degrees before to 20 degrees after. Weird, eh?
Yep.
You know what it was? The spring for the points had broken, but the contact, the little copper, that was still there.
It was just enough spring.
Just enough spring in that it would idle, but you'd get point float at 1,800 RPM. That one took me a week to figure out. Yeah.
I've never come across that one.
That was a weird one.
That would drive you crazy.
It was. I was ready to throw the thing away.
We all come across stuff like that, but it's always the first time,
That's right. And people have asked you, and I know they've asked me, how did you figure all this stuff out? Well, because it's all happened to me. How did you learn how to paint? Because I've done it wrong so many times. I've done everything wrong. I've made every mistake. That's how I got good at doing paint jobs, is I did them badly for years and years and years. And each time you get a little better. And I kept looking for the magic. Where's the magic? How do these guys get such good paint jobs? Where's the magic trick? Keep looking for the magic trick, and you'd learn a trick, and you'd be like, this has got to be it. But paint jobs are going to be awesome now. Nope, that wasn't it. And then here, 50 years later, you know what the magic trick is? It's every one of them.
Right.
Every trick is the magic trick, and you have to know them all. And
that's the thing about being a mechanic or any aspect of this. You can't be deterred from failure. It's like there has to be that tenacious thing where you're just going to keep picking away at it until finally you come up, with the answer. It's people are afraid of failure, or right away, as soon as things go wrong and they can't figure it out right away, they're like, oh, it's too much, and they start firing a parts cannon and shit like that.
I'm almost ashamed of myself when I buy parts now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's not a matter of
you had to buy a part. You suck, you know.
Exactly. It's not that I'm cheap. It's not that I can't afford it. It's not. It's that it's like throwing in the towel. It's like a last resort.
Yeah, as a last resort, I'll try.
I throw my hands up. This is unrepairable. Let's buy the part.
Oh, I'm just terrible with that. I'll make my own starter before I'll buy one. You know.
I used to be like that, but since I started doing YouTube, I've changed a little bit. Only because I don't have the time. I don't have the headspace. So I was just like, okay, start this shit. All things is bad, whatever. Okay, here, just pop it in and be done with it. But that's just because my head is full of, I got to make content. And this isn't content. I can't make content out of this. Which is one of the traps you find yourself in when you do YouTube full time. It's that, if you can't make content with it, you can't justify the time and the energy spent to do it. So you have to.
Yeah,
it changes, man.
It does, and it is, and I've mentioned that to people before. Is if I can't be filming it, I can't be doing it really. And luckily, most of what I like to do, I can film in it. And my channel's not about any one particular thing. So, if I want to work on a motorcycle, okay, I can do that. But, if I want to, like fix up the yard, sometimes it's not happening as much as it should.
Last year, I bought an XJ. I bought it knowing it needed a flywheel. I know the noise. I know what it's put, and it was the first time in my life I dropped the car off at a transmission shop. I don't have I can't make content out of this. So it's going to cost me $600 to get it done. It's out of the way, or I'm going to shoot a day in the ass swapping this thing out for no content. You know what? Here, let somebody else do this. And that's where I'm at now, looking to expand a little bit and looking to pick up a helper, because there's a lot of stuff that I just cannot justify spending the time on because I can't make content out of it. Some guys can make content out of that kind of stuff, but I don't have that kind of channel.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing, and it's also, I see, and I try not to fall into this. What makes good content apparently is doing the first 15% of any project, and that is something that I really like. I legitimately am finishing all these cars to the standard that I think is good enough, and people are really excited about the first video where you buy an old car and the first video where you tear it all apart and show everybody how terrible it is. And they might even be interested in the second or third video where you're putting some of the bulk welding together and whatever. But very few people are interested enough in it to stay there and watch you, clean the back of the dashboard instruments with a Q-tip. But that's all part of it. So I'm doing that, and so it is difficult. I mean, people don't have the patience to watch it, much less do it. And it is a bit of a problem when you're actually genuinely trying to rebuild a car that you actually want for the reason of I want that car. And the whole will it run thing is easy because as soon as those cars, you've made your video, you got the car to drive around the yard, okay, it just goes back in the row. It's not getting brakes, it's not getting interior, none of the lights work.
Right.
I kind of backed away from that, A, because everybody else started doing it, and B, it's not really moving the cars any closer to the road. And I thought, if I'm going to do this for a living, I want to have something to show for it when I'm done, which is a garage full of cars that I really want. And so that's kind of, a situation that I've noticed.
It's one of the reasons why I try to stay away from these long-term projects, because like you said, it's the first installment, the second one, and then after that you watch, so you get 60,000 on the first installment, you get 45 on the next. You get I ran into that with the Jeep, with the XJ. I was getting really good views on the drag Jeep, right? Mission Improbable. Mm-hmm. And then like the last installment we did, it got like 19,000 views. I'm like, I can't justify going to the track and spending all this time and booking a dog sitter and everything else to get 19,000 views. So it's like, okay, I lose my enthusiasm for the project, and it just gets pushed off to the next, off to the side while we come up to the next thing. But okay, is saying you can't film a video on that, and he's talking about the changing the flywheel, the flex plate on the Jeep. No, I can't. What am I going to do? Right? I'm going to lay under the truck and I'm going to say, then you take a 15 millimeter and you unbolt this, and then you take, and then you put your jack here. What? No, that's not the kind of content that I do. Who's going to be interested in that content except for somebody doing that exact job?
Well, that's right. And I'm thankful for those videos when there is, like, for instance, I found a channel where there's a guy who's quite a Volvo specialist, and he had a very detailed and excellent video on how to change the timing belt on a Volvo S90.
Yeah.
Great. But it didn't have a ton of views because it is so specific to that car, and you're happy that it's there. And I'm happy that YouTube has that stuff.
Right.
But
exactly. And I hit that kind of video all the time. You come across something that's like, wait a minute, should it go this way? Should it go this way? And you look at the video, I always search for the shortest one. You skip through the first third of it, get right to the meat, and you see the part where they're working on a thing. Oh, okay, that's how it works. So if I did a video that was only Jeep XJs, like there's a guy here, Dex J. Guy has like 1,000 Jeeps XJs. Like, he's really into these things. And I'm not shitting. He's got like 1,000 of them. So he does videos like that. But that's his thing. It's like, yes, you're going to watch Dex J's XJ channel. You want to know how to change the flywheel on an XJ. But if you're watching Uncle Tony's Garage and it's like, what are we talking about today? Runaway technology, mutant technology, drag racing, traction, superchargers. What are we talking about? I can't stick a flywheel replacement in an XJ into that. It doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm willing to push my luck sometimes. It's probably a whole lot of people know a lot more about replacing the proportioning valve in a Renault car than they ever wanted to. But I'm a shameless bastard that way.
So go back to your list. Number 3.
My list. Oh, yeah, the list of questions, eh? All right, we already covered the bands. Oh, yeah, do you still want the cars you wanted as a kid, and did you ever buy them?
Yes, I've owned everything I ever wanted to own and realized that it was like a waste of time wanting to own it.
Yeah, fair play. I'm still getting through the ones that I have always wanted, actually. And yeah, I don't sell much. So I had a Jap Bikes question, but I caught the last live stream where you were talking water buffaloes. So I don't want to bring those up because I just gave my brother one for his birthday.
What kind of shape is it?
He's still watching. I don't want him to hear your review of the water buffalo because it needs a bunch of work.
Well, okay, but if he's not expecting, a Kawasaki triple-like performance, the water buffalo was a fine bike. It didn't fit my priorities. It wasn't what I was looking for at the time. I wanted terror when I squeezed the throttle, and all it gave me was smooth. You know what I mean? I don't want smooth. I want a lunge.
Yeah. No, you want this crazy power band, and It is not there. Yeah. But I think, in their defense, that's what they designed. They wanted to tune that out of it, right? I think.
Yes, it was
born to be mild. I think.
Yep, born to be mild.
Yeah.
and smooth it is. Like you can put a glass of water on the tank of that thing running, and there's no ripples. It just sits there.
They sound cool. I saw a video of one with some really cool stainless handmade pipes on it. It sounded pretty crackly, but I don't think they improved the performance. They just sound badass.
Yeah.
What did they say? It sounded like a room full of people clapping. It was pretty cool. Oh, it's another magazine question. I remember back in the day reading a magazine where they took it was all about, weight and performance. And they took, and it just had something that looked like you might have done. They took an old Cadillac and,
caddy hack.
Gradually chopped it all up until it was just a seat and a frame.
Yeah, that was done by Freiberger did that.
Oh, okay.
In Hot Rod, and I don't remember what year it was, but early on. And then the story was called Caddy Hack, and I think they got it into the low 13s.
Yeah.
And then after I left Mopar Action magazine to go pursue my career in freaking funny cars, Cliff Gromer and Rick Ehrenberg did the same thing with a Chrysler Imperial. They took like a 66 Imperial and they hacked it down to where it was nothing, and they got like similar times out of it.
Okay, so that was, it looked like one that you might have done. That's funny. Okay, we did that one. Oh, here's it. Yeah, back to picking on modern cars again. Why precisely do they feel so lifeless? Like, is it just, you know what I mean? Like, I drove some nice cars that the numbers are good. You know what I mean? Like, they got good numbers, but you drive them and you're just, the only thing I come up with is it feels like a simulator of a car, you know?
NVH.
Yeah, it's just lifeless, right?
NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. And ever since that became that's a while now. You're going back to like the late 1980s, early 1990s, when that became like the primary thing when you start designing a part or a system in the car, noise, vibration, and harshness. That took a lot of it away. A lot of the soul, a lot of the feel of the feedback that you get just generally from the machine, it's gone. And it's like, it's imperceptible, really. Because the noise, vibration, and harshness that they're going after is like minute micro vibrations that you wouldn't normally even know were there. Like, for instance, an example on the XJs, they have on the 4.0, the later ones, they have this girdle underneath the main caps. The main caps don't need any support. It's this big, heavy girdle that's there for noise, vibration, and harshness reasons. It takes away some of that soul. You know, now you go through the whole car, and everything's been designed to that standard, and it takes away the feedback, a biofeedback that doesn't exist from the cars anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Because you know, I always, well, not always, but I tend to want to blame rack and pinion. I like a steering box in my car. Yeah. I find that it you know, I find that artificial, you know, resistance, like the fake feedback that you get in a modern car, I don't know, it's up there with the fake exhaust sounds that they pipe into them now too, right? And but yeah, I just find them to be lifeless, even if the numbers are great, like they're super fast or whatever. But you're just like, I'm not entertained.
I had a friend of mine.
Oh, the car is way more entertaining to drive with 49 horsepower.
I had a friend of mine bring a Challenger by. He bought it for his wife. 5.7, 5-speed, whatever the package was. I don't even know, you know, because I'm not into it enough to know, right? But he had taken it to the track at around like a 1290 something, which is respectable. That's a stout running car. It's a good running car. So
that's out of the box number.
Was out of the box.
Yeah, that's impressive, right?
So, and he's a good driver too. So he comes by and he's telling me about the car, and I was like, man, I'm just not into it. He says, take it for a blast. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I get in the car and I find my little space and I bang it up through the gears. And I'm like, yeah, no, it does nothing for me. It's like nothing for me.
And this is something else that I think is funny, that anybody would hand you a street legal car and think they're going to impress a guy who ran a fuel altered with how fast it is. Like, you'd fall asleep driving anything that ran over a 10-second quarter mile.
That's not true. That's not true at all. I get my biggest kicks out of slow cars. The Mission Improbable.
Right.
Have you been following that one at all?
I have loosely.
Okay. So so the premise of this thing is to run a 13-second quarter mile ET or an 8.99 eighth mile, which would equate to be the same. I eventually will get it to a quarter, but all my local tracks are eighths, so that's what we work with. So the goal there is to take a stock Jeep XJ and run a 13-second quarter mile using nothing but the parts it was born with. Cannot add anything. It has to remain visually stock. It has to remain completely functional. It has to remain completely so you look at this, you look at any part of this car.
Still four-wheel drive and everything.
Two-wheel drive.
Oh, it's two. Okay.
You couldn't do it with four-wheel.
That was my question. I'm like, that's a heavy barge to be. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's two-wheel. So that's the goal with it, right? And I have much more fun with that than I would have, let's say, with a 10-second or 9-second street car. Because it's not, see, after the thing about going fast is that after a while, no matter how fast you go, it's like, that's it. Like the first time you drive an 11-second car, right? And you're running up to the gears, you're like, oh my God, right? And then 3 passes later, and it's like, this thing won't get out of its own way, come on, right? And you just ran your personal best with it. Speed is like that. No matter what you drive, you become acclimated to it, and you become bored with it really quickly. And I learned that a long time ago. So now I look for more the experience, the relationship with the vehicle. Mm. How does this thing make me feel when I'm banging it up through the gears? What sounds does it make? Does that make any sense? So, yeah. So I could care less about speed. Speed means nothing to me. Mm-hmm. Personality, character, and return on effort, mm-hmm. to me is the biggest thing. I put this much into it effort-wise, right? Yeah. What's it going to return to me? So this thing has gone 928, which is the equivalent of a 1430 quarter mile. Mm-hmm. And 4 liter. What's that?
4 liter.
4 liter.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah,
100%. All of the stock parts. Okay, exception. The exhaust consists of nothing but a cherry bomb. Mm-hmm. It comes off the factory header. There's the S pipe. And then I wanted to lose the cat, so the rest of the exhaust system was shit. So I just took a cherry bomb and I fucking welded it to the end of it. I'm like, okay, it sounds good. It sounds like it sounds like a Jaguar going out of track. But I have more fun with that than I would have with something that was 3 seconds faster. Speed, like I said, means nothing to me. It's like, how can I relate with this car? How can I meld with this thing and make it give me back? You know what I mean? That's what I enjoy.
That's pretty massive though for that. Have you gutted the interior or
anything? No. It's sitting on my driveway right now.
How do you tune? Is it electronic? Like how do you?
Yeah, Dr. R put a tune on it. Most of it is driving, honestly. Like because now I've had Dr. R drive it, Kiwi drove it, and I'm about a half second quicker than either of them because they didn't grow up street racing 4-speed cars, so they don't have that same. You know what I'm saying?
But it isn't their car.
Oh, they know I don't care about that. You know, and I'll tell you, anytime I tell somebody, go ahead, take her for a romp, I'm like, don't worry about it. Just blow it up if you want to. So I don't know where I was going with that, but so yeah, it has all the interior still in it. You look at it from the outside, it's completely stock. You look at the inside, it's completely stock. You drive it down the road, you think it's completely stock, and it is completely stock. But I built a fresh air system. I got the weight down. I took out weight from 1,000 different places. So I got the weight down to 28. Is it 2850? I believe the weight is 2850. What's that?
That's a body weight.
Yeah.
What did you ever get your lightweight dart down to?
12. No, wait a minute. No. The dart, I got that down to 2,100 pounds. That was 2,100 pounds. Bottle rocket is 20, with me in it, is at 190 pounds was 3,020 pounds. So that's so what would the car be? Minus 200 pounds. That's what bottle rocket weighs, ready to go. And that's got a bench seat and a big heavy bench seat in it. And it's all steel, all glass.
Yeah, still all the glass in it. Handles.
I love stuff like that, man. I love stuff like that.
That's fantastic.
It's okay, man. Let's give me another one off your list.
All right. I know you like Fox bodies. You got any oddball Fox body recommendations for some of my friends who are into that?
If I had to do it all over again, I never would have gone with a Mustang. It would have been a Fairmont.
Did you ever see the LTD LX 5.0, the police one?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that's one that was kind of a fun choice. I've seen a couple of those.
But yeah, I kind of regret I did all that with the Mustang. I wish it had been a Fairmont because everybody expects it out of a Mustang. Expect it out of a, you know what I mean? Nobody ever expected a Fairmont, and you could have got the same package. I'm gonna run.
You bet. Yeah.
Back through. Dr. and Kiwi are civilians. Arago saying Tony shifts like Randy socks on 1.5 speed. Listen. I could, in my day when I was younger. Okay. Yeah. No question. I don't know if you can outshift Ronnie socks, but I could shift as quickly. I could power shift of an 833 4-speed as quickly as any human or any machine on the planet could. It was something I practiced. I put my heart and soul into it. You have no idea how much practice, how many shifts I threw with those things. So yeah, I could have beat Ronnie Socks.
Oh, that's awesome. I've got one of those transmissions in one of my cars, and the shifter is kind of terrible. It's got these plates that are all parallel to each other, and you know what the shifter is that I'm talking about?
The inland shifter, does it have the reverse trigger?
Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah.
Oh, it sucks.
Okay, it's not just me that thinks that sucks.
No, we used to call that the guess gear.
Okay. All right, good. I thought I was doing something wrong.
No. Chrysler used them in 67 and early 68 to try to save some money. And it didn't last very long.
This came out of a slightly later car, but it was not very good. Not very good. And I don't know if... oh, yeah. Another one I wanted to ask you is what... I assume you have some friends that are not car people. What do they think?
I look for friends who aren't car people, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, I know you're a big dog guy too, so that's cool.
Honestly, bro, I'm having more fun with the dogs. I took my Molly Jane. She's my border collie pup. She's 5 months old, 5.5 months old, and we went to puppy class, and she got her first ribbon. Is it here or is it? It's inside. She got her first ribbon, and I enjoy hanging out with the dog people. It's a bunch of old ladies. They have nothing going on in their lives except their dogs, and I enjoy that. Honestly, I can't begin to tell you, because car people are always in competition with each other. You can be the best of friends, but there's still that one upmanship. There's always, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, I do, and certain subgroups of that culture are worse than others, but.
Well, yes, obviously, your subculture would be less competitive because you're just grooving on the whole old car thing, right? When you get into the more performance-oriented stuff, everything is a dick swinging contest. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm done swinging it. I'm just done. I don't care anymore. So I want to go hang out with old ladies and their dogs. So I go to the classes and I meet all of the dogs, and I pet all of the dogs, and I give them treats, and it's like I'm in heaven.
Everybody wins, yeah. If anything, we try to out-weird each other now.
Okay.
Because then everybody's having a laugh, right? It's friendly, and just like if the goal is to out-weird each other, then nobody's really getting mad. Nobody's getting their nose bent out of shape. It's like, oh, he bought a weirder Saab 96 than now I got to go buy some DKW East German 2-stroke, helicopter motor in it or whatever. So it's kind of a friendly bit of one-upmanship, and it's not. There's no objective measure. It's just like, did you make your friends laugh really hard? Are you all giving each other a hard time? And I don't have to fight off my friends when the weirdo French cars come up for sale, and they're happy that I'm not there when they're trying to buy whatever they want to buy. And I think the common goal, I think we touched on it last time, was like, I don't care what you're into, as long as you're so into it that it's ruining your life.
That's why I used to like hanging out when I had the coffee houses and we had the venues and stuff. I used to love hanging out with some of the musicians, because they were like, I wasn't really into what they were playing. That wasn't the idea. It was just some of these people were so intense, what they were doing, and I like that. I like that energy. You know what I mean? It's like Show me anybody who's over the top with something, and I'll find something I like about them.
Yeah, for sure. It's the, you know, and I really, you know, I like to see people like way like out over their heads into what they're like. You really shouldn't have, you know, this situation, but I respect that you do, you know, and that you have put yourself so far into nightmare land because you just got to have more. You got to do it, right? And we talked about that's how you get good at stuff is you're obsessed.
Yep.
And that's how you meet the best people is they're obsessed, you know. And so we've been.
That's why I enjoy the dog people so much, because they're obsessed with their dogs.
Yeah.
You know, I just had this. I actually literally just had this conversation with. So I both of my I have two border collies, Winnie Lynn and Molly Jane, and we take them to practice. Actually, Elizabeth is probably watching this right now. Elizabeth is their teacher, and she actually was her and her husband used to watch my channel. They knew about us before we started bringing the dogs there, and it almost made me not bring the dog. I'm like, I don't want to bring my dog any place where they watch my channel, right? Yeah. But it turned out they're great people. And I just had the conversation with her today. I was like, at some point, I'm the whole car thing. I'm getting rid of every car. I'm getting rid of every tool. I'm getting rid of every part. I'm going to keep a couple of motorcycles, and I want to invest in like a dog rescue. I just want like a farm or something, and I want to be surrounded by hundreds of dogs. And that's how I want. That's how I want to go out. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just done with all of this stuff. And in the last couple of years of my life, I want a dog rescue.
Mm-hmm. That's a fine plan. I would be. I don't know if I could ever get rid of them all, but I think one day, what I miss. I grew up in Ontario in Lake Country. I didn't grow up there, but we had a cabin there, and I'd like to have a boat one day. You know, I miss that. I have a dozen vintage outboard motors hanging on the wall and no boat to put them on. And so I think one day I could see myself, I'd like to have a big wooden boat with a Packard straight 8 in it.
Oh, that would be sweet.
That would be a nice way to kind of, plus I already have the car and it's garbage. I just want to take the engine out.
I had a couple of boats when I was in New York, and the novelty wears off pretty quickly with them.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I don't know. There's something about the Super Disco with the 454 with the Zoomy pipes and all that, you know, and the metal paint.
Like that.
Yeah. I'd love to have one like that one day too, but it's probably not. Just where I live is just farm fields. There's the lakes around here are the size of your backyard, and they're just mud, and so it's just.
I grew up in New York City. I'm 2 miles, 3 miles from the marina.
Yeah.
So it was. You know, everybody had boats.
Everybody had a boat, yeah.
So I had a few of them. But like I said, they say the 2 best days of boat ownership is the day you buy it and the day you get rid of it. And it's true. Yeah. It's true.
They literally say that about Citro and SMs too. And I've yet to discover that, maybe because I haven't had the day you drive it yet. I've had it for 10 years and it's driven from one garage to the other.
So yeah, you got any others? Good, bro. We're at the 2-hour mark already.
Oh, okay, sure. Well,
we get together and it's just like there's not like time.
Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get as many questions as we wanted to. Well, you know, here's a fun one, and I know you did a video on this, and I think it needs to be touched on again. Is practical tips for when driving, because people drive modern cars and they have capabilities that classic cars don't have. Yeah, I think it's a public service would be like, and I know you touched on it, is driving tips for driving really old cars in traffic. And like my old cars don't have seat belts or anything. And so one tip that I would have is, you know, you got to leave a lot of room, because I get in cars, modern cars with people who just only drive modern cars. And I'm like, why are you so close to this guy? You should have been, you know, and the red light's coming up and they're still on the gas pedal up until 100 feet before. And of course the car stops. But I'm like, man, if that was one of my cars, we're all dead. Like, and so I thought that would be a a fun topic. Maybe we don't have time to get too far into it, but
what would make a good video, either one of us can do it, or each one of us will do it. We'll let the audience decide who did the better version of it, is drive one at ABS brakes, panic stopping. Because in the old days, you were taught, first thing you're taught, you're going to pass it, pump the brake. Don't stand on a brake, pump the brake, right? That's like a lost art. People don't. So that could be something.
Yeah, well, and I think you did a video or a live dealing with something. No, it was a video dealing with something to that. And I just thought there was more to explore there. And that would be another one would be tips for drum brake setups. Drum brakes are vastly underappreciated and understood.
I did a couple of videos on drum brakes.
Yeah, good, yeah.
How to set them up, how to do them real quick with a screwdriver. Who's got that? Who's got the they're gonna go out and buy the tools and all that shit. So here, this is how you work the springs with a screwdriver. Here's how you get the stuff off with a pair of pliers.
Yeah.
I did that. I did a brake swap. I cheated. I mounted the backing plate on a vise, and I did the whole thing in like 45 seconds. Because people are like, "Oh, you can't do drum brakes easy. They're so hard." I said, "No, look,
they're easy." But there's some neat tips to setting them up. I used to be very proud that I could get the cars to stop without the lights coming on.
Well, I did a video on. I used my 72 Slinger. And I did a video on how to adjust them properly and get the right feel for it, and so yeah, I've done several drum brake videos.
Yeah, good. Yeah, drum brakes are something that's not really spent a lot of time on. I think a lot of cars have discs on the rear now too. So
almost all of them do these days.
Do they? Yeah. I just don't know anything about new cars at all.
Ride the brake pedal when you go through a deep puddle. That's something that people don't think about anymore. It was just second nature to anybody who grew up like us, grew up with drum brake cars.
Heat them up, yeah.
Yeah, you see deep water and you automatically ride the brake pedal through the deep water. Disc brake cars don't have that problem.
Well, that's really cool that so many people would stop in. And
yeah, 358 people. So
wow.
One of our mods, I don't know who's still here. Once again, we're like ignoring the audience here. Would one of you guys put up a link to Scott's channel so we could pin it over here? And anybody who's not subbed can get over there. How many subs you up to, man?
Oh, here, closing in on 69,000.
Nice.
So that's yeah, and thanks to you guys for having me on. We're getting ever closer. I would like to live long enough to hit 100. We'll see.
There you go. Fubar just put up the link. Thank you, Fubar. So anybody who's not sub, go over there and sub to Scott at Cold War Motors.
It's very kind of you guys.
Ring the bell and I don't even know all the stuff you do.
All the stuff. Yeah. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment, right?
Push the thing.
Share. All go through all of his videos and share
whatever they tell you to do on the successful channels. Yeah. So well, if that's 2 hours, well, geez, that flew by again. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and thank you for having me on, man.
I think we're gonna have to wait a week or two and do this again.
Yeah, well, anytime. Yeah, absolutely. It's really fun, and I think we got to a few more questions, but we'll keep trying. And yeah, that's awesome. Anybody got any last minute questions here before we go? And
I'm rolling back through here.
Yeah. If anybody does, but
zero always with wisdom. Drum brakes, if your car can't stop hard enough to get the oil light to come on, you need to adjust them. 68 Darth Vader driver. Yes.
It's true. I got my car to stop hard enough once to get it to do the old Dodge rear axle chatter. Remember that? When you step on the brakes and then the springs wind up and the wheels start bouncing up, and
Yeah, it works for acceleration, but not so hot for deceleration.
Yeah, it's a great accelerating setup.
Right.
I didn't know what that was. I was a kid, and I don't know what I was doing, lighting a cigarette or something. I looked up, and there was a grater right in front of me, and I locked him up so hard. And I heard this horrifying banging sound that came from the back of the car, and I didn't know what it. I thought the diff had fallen out or something. And I got out of the car, and it was fine. And I was just like, what the hell was that? And then I looked behind me, and there was this checkerboard of little skid marks. And that was my first experience with the old Chrysler axle hop. And that was a not something I've ever repeated. Kind of pay attention.
All right, so you have more stuff on your list, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so save that for the next one. Let's wait a couple of weeks and we'll do this again. Whenever
thank you. Yeah, I'll write another list.
Let's work off of that one. And the next time you should actually get your channel going also with the live. And this
sure, yeah, I'll try and I thought it might be fun. Some of the fellows could hang, and because sometimes we get questions for guys that aren't here, and it's not really fair for me to answer on their behalf. So it usually works pretty good. Yeah, well, we'll have to get Kathy to show me how to do that, but I would love to. Yeah, well, thank you guys so much.
No, well, thank you. And our mods are awesome mods. You got mods on you when you do lives? You have mods?
No.
These guys keep everything rolling so good.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
You're a Fubar Mexican Spec. Guys, thank you. I saw Ari in here before. Thank you as always. They keep everything running so smooth. And they're always sharing the links and merch. If you got merch to sell, they'll put the link for the merch. Awesome. Guy,
I get that sorted out too. Yeah.
Everybody who contributed with Super Chat, thank you so much. It's never expected, but always appreciated. And everybody who just your presence and your conversation, thank you equally. And like I said, go over there, sub to Scott's channel, and do all of the things that you're supposed to do.
Sub to that channel too. Of course, you probably already.
We're already subbed here. That's how they get the notification.
Right.
And that's it. I think we're going to pull a plug. Any last words?
No, other than thank you, and thanks to you and Kathy. That's very kind.
Thank you. Yeah. It's always good to have like somebody that can. I've had some weak guests. You have Drake stuff. I don't know. No, you're awesome, man. You're awesome. We could sit here. Maybe one day we'll do a marathon. We'll just sit here and do a live until one of us passes out.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to put real coffee in here, but I'll go. Yeah,
we'll do a fundraiser or something.
Okay, fundraiser. So for what? For new tires for each of us.
There you go.
We'll do it for dogs.
We'll do it for dogs. We'll do a dog fundraiser. I'm down with that.
Yeah, that's a fine idea.
All right, so guys, I'm gonna hit the end stream, and I think that's it, right? Thank you, Scott, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys so much. Cheers.
We are out.